Okay, I thought let me just start with some overview, just to let on the Radio Awards itself. Just everybody knows that the Telkom Radio Awards honors and recognizes excellence and innovation within the radio industry in South Africa. Um, are we recording this session, Morgan? Sorry about that, everyone. I just want to know because I see some people are still logging in. So they can maybe watch the beginning. Okay, cool. Thank you so much, Morgan. So this is just an overview on the Telkom Radio Awards itself. Again, just to let everybody know, some people know, some people are new, some people are old. They've used the system before. The award itself is a benchmark for all radio stations and professionals who want to strive towards the program itself. We we aim to celebrate and acknowledge everyone in the industry at the end of the year at the gala awards that we have every year. Now, to start off with everything, I thought let me just tell everyone the categories for 2025 are available at the Radio Awards website under categories. I've put a link here so that if anybody wants this deck as well, they can also just maybe have access to it through the team and request it via the Radio Awards at arena.africa email. And then you can maybe keep it, use it to just refresh your mind and see where you can get everything. The entries have had a few changes in terms of some inclusion of the internet category in some categories. For instance, music show, they can, as an internet radio station, also submit to enter that category. So it will be advisable for everybody to just maybe have a look at the categories again, see which categories you can enter for 2025 and take it from there. So getting started to just prep your entries before you even register to submit your entries on the system. Some tips that I would recommend for everyone is to maybe also visit the website itself, have a look at the categories like I just mentioned, take a look. There's a few tips on the Telkom Radio Awards website on how to enter the categories itself, some handy tips, terms and condition, and any news to update industry in terms of what's coming next, when the My Station competition will open, when entries close, and when the actual events will be. So you can also see on the news when the announcements for finalists will also take place. For any how you would like to contact us, we have a hyperlink under contacts to also click there and maybe reach out to us via email and share how we can assist you or how we can support you throughout the journey on the system. So make sure that you submit everything in the entry and that the entry is correct before you actually press submit on the form. When we go through that, I will also show you what I mean there. So just double check everything. Make sure the show name is very clear, the presenter name is written correctly, because the presenter name also, when we get to finalists and awarding the actual winners, where we pull the correct names and on the finalist announcement is based on what you've submitted on the actual system. So if you write the presenter's name incorrectly or the show name incorrectly, where you will see when we announce what we use, we take exactly from the system and we can't tamper with what you've entered on the system unless you put it in writing and advises that you made an error and you'd like to maybe update the presenter's name or the show name, any other details that you see are incorrect. The system is still the same as last year where broadcasting language for each station is a multiple field. So you're not restricted in terms of which language. So if your station broadcasts in all 11 official languages, you can actually select all 11 official languages when you register under your profile. So no matter what, when you're submitting a specific entry, you can also change the language in terms of if that specific show broadcasts in Xhosa or in Sesotho, then you would write that under the actual entry form. A few things that you should also take note of is the limitations under each category. So there are different limitations in terms of presenter categories, producer categories, news radio category, show category, community project category, program innovation category, on air, and internet and podcast, and the nomination category. So you just have to also just visit the website as well there and see what the actual limitations are. And they're also available on this deck that I've put together for everyone. So the limitations I'm talking about is in terms of submitting per station or per presenter. So if a presenter has registered on the system and has submitted an entry, then the station itself can't also submit an entry for that specific presenter unless they request the presenter to maybe delete their entry and withdraw their entry on the actual system, and then the station will then submit the entry on behalf of the presenter. So most of the categories are there are just one submission per presenter, and the station itself can submit up to three in each category for per presenter. And then the creative categories, which is your community project category, program innovation category, and on-air packaging category, has no more than 3 entries per station as well. Please take note of these limitations before you submit all your entries, because if you and think about them in detail, have a discussion as a team, which 3 that you would like to submit for this year, because then if you have more than 3, you really have to come together as a team and decide which ones that you'd really want to submit per category. What's to remember when submitting your entry? So this is all just before you even register, I recommend, is your written submission. Your written submission is an opportunity for you to sell your actual entry to the judges. So assume that the judge that is judging your entry does not know anything about your station. Hence, it's 250 words. So use that section to motivate and must be tailored exactly as to the category criteria, and just sell the actual show or the presenter on the actual motivation. I normally used to suggest to people also, if you have any links that you want to add on your submission for judges to have a complete overview of the actual show or the actual presenter, put them on your motivation, add them there. It makes a lot of sense for them to also have as much material as possible that you think is of value to the actual submission itself. When you're preparing your audio now, prepare your audio in accordance to the actual category itself. Make sure that your entry is always between the period of 1 April 2024 to the 31st March 2025. So within that year period, what would you like to include? For instance, your audio clip as well doesn't have to just have that one clip of that one show. So what you can do is compress different shows into one and compress it to a 6-minute audio demo bite that has no jingles, no adverts, no nothing, just pure content of the actual show or the presenter that you're showcasing in that specific entry. This needs to be an MP3 format, and this is also required when you fill in the form of the on the entry system as well. So if your entry doesn't have your audio submission, it will appear as incomplete. If your entry does not have any written submission, it will appear as incomplete, even on your dashboard as well. So it will the system will remind you as well with an automated mailer that the system, your entry is incomplete. So please bear in mind that everything that has the star on the form itself, when you're filling in the entry, has everything submitted according to that actual form that you're filling in for the entry. Right, how to register on the system. If you're new and don't know and you've never entered the Telkom Radio Awards before, please visit the Telkom Radio Awards website, which is www.radioawards.co.za. You will see here this image that I put together for you. This is what you're looking for. You're looking for click here to enter. So you click there to enter, which will automatically redirect you to the official entry system landing page, which looks like this image here. Under here, you can click register, because what we've always done, and we did this year as well, you have to actually register a new profile because people don't always stay at the different radio station. They move on and they change radio stations. Some retire, but the station would like to also submit their entries. So when you're submitting, you have to create a new registration on the system. You can't use your last year's profile to log in. The system will not allow you to use last year's profile or details to log in. So you have to register a new profile. On this image here, when you get to this landing page, you click register your profile. And then there, the system will redirect you to an automatic registration form for you to fill in, which looks like this form here. Now here we are looking for all the details that we need for the actual profile to be registered. One, fill in the form with your email address, create a password with letters and maybe a sign or two and some digits. Your password is not really limited to specific characters. It works as normal, like any other web page, like maybe like your Amazons and your Shein, all the shopping websites that everybody uses on a daily basis. So you can use up to 8 characters or maybe a bit more, as long as you write that password down and you remember it every time you enter the system itself to update your entry or submit more entries. You put the station name under there. Now, if your station is not on the drop-down tab, what you do is you send an email via the support. I'll go back a bit there so you can see each page on the Radio Awards system has this support section on there. If you click on support, it will then ask you to just write us a message and tell us how we would assist you. You would then tell us the radio station's full name, the station's licensing, and where it falls under so that we also can save it on our archives. You then fill in the station, you select your contact number, you collect your work telephone number, which is your landline. Now, if you no longer work for that specific station or your station does not have a landline, please use your mobile, try using your mobile number there. It's not a required field, so it should take it even if it's your mobile number, which is the same mobile number that you use on the first tab box there. Select your licensing sector. Your licensing sector tells us where your station falls under. If it's a campus radio station, but does not broadcast on a frequency, then it will fall under internet only. If it's campus and it has a frequency, then it's a campus radio station. If it's commercial, you click commercial, community radio station that have frequencies as well. It falls under community, and the PBS is for the public broadcasting stations, which is the most of the SABC owned stations, the internet, and there's also podcasts that you can also add there. So you select your licensing according to the actual station. Just to also take me back a bit, station names. It is very ideal and crucial that the person that's submitting an entry or registering on the website um, puts the correct name of the station. For example, some people when they register, they just write their hot FM or hot 10, the frequency, to create some consistency and for us to know actually what the actual station is, frequency is, or the official name. Please use the correct name for the station so that we have some consistency on the system as well, and we avoid any errors should the station be shortlisted as a finalist and we make the announcements. Once you're done completing the registration form and you filled in all your information, you click submit registration on the page there. What happens next? You will get an email from on your inbox, depending which platform you use for your emails. If it's Gmail or Outlook or Yahoo, any platform that you use, please just check. Sometimes what your system goes into spam or junk. It takes the email to your junk and spam. So just check there for the verification email. Click the words that says click here to verify your email. If that doesn't work, use the actual link that we provided there under on the copy there for you to use the actual link for you to just verify your email. What happens after you verified your email? After you verified your email, the system administrator then receives an email, which is not one person, it is 3 people in total that receive an email to say, please approve this specific registration. Now, for us as well on the other end, just to double check, what we do is we take the station's name that you've provided, we just check quickly if that station is a registered station and it's approved and it's got a frequency or it's an internet podcast and it has a website, then we approve that specific registration. If you've registered and you have not verified your email address, you cannot automatically log in on the system. The system will not allow you because you have not verified your email address. Once you've verified your email address, then it's up to the system administrators to approve you. Please also bear in mind of the time. So if you register your profile at 9 p.m. in the evening, automatically then the administrators will then approve your registration the next morning, not in the evening, because most likely they're offline at that time. So please bear with us on that. I know some people register, they verify the email address and they think maybe the administrator is online immediately. So we try and we approve all those as soon as possible so that people can log in. Once we've approved you on the back end, the system will then send you an email for you to log in to let you know that you've been approved by the administrator. Now you can log in. It will give you a link shortcut on the copy to say, please click here to log in, and you can log in. Please also just note the tracking number that is here allows us to track everything on the system so we know what is happening. So should you have any errors or need any assistance, our DevOps team uses that tracking number for you to track the actual profile for you so that we can assist you. Now, how to submit an entry. You've registered yourself on the system, you've been approved, you've verified your email, you've been approved. Now you're on your actual dashboard and you're on the system. The dashboard would look something like this. To create a new entry, you click on the button there that says create a new entry. Your dashboard, when you are in the system, is your home. It tells you everything. It has a countdown clock there that's counting down when entries will close. It's got how many entries you've completed, how many entries you have not completed. Should we do any announcements in the system itself to advise you of certain changes or just to remind you, please complete all your incomplete entries. Your announcements then will appear here under announcements. What you do then is click dashboard as well, so that once you're registered on the system, you don't have to go to the Telkom Radio Awards website every time if you want to see which entries are available, the summary for each entry, just the descriptions itself, so you're familiar with them. They're also available here under available categories. Every entry that you submit on your profile and complete will appear under my complete entries here as well, as much as it also appears here. The incomplete entries will appear here under incomplete entries and also here under incomplete entries. All your entries are also available as a summary view on all my entries. It will tell you you've submitted 2, or if you've submitted 10 and you're the person that's officially submitting all the entries for the whole station, because some stations do that. They put one person as the person that will submit all the entries for the actual radio station, which is ideal as well for you to submit your entries. It works better if you submit as a team and you discuss as a team, so that the radio awards team does not have to sort of choose who can submit an entry and who can't submit an entry. It's ideal that the radio stations deal with that themselves, and we take it from the actual entries that have been submitted. That is all with regards to submitting entries from my side right now. But what I would like to also do, Morgan, if you can assist me, is for me to take any questions from anybody that has any questions so far, and we can take it from there.
Hi, Pilar. Apologies for that. We had a question from Matea Rorisang. Greetings. Please explain why a radio host for a sports show is not allowed to also enter for the sport bulletin category. In this case, he does both.
I'd have to double check that one, Morgan, but as far as I know, they can enter both as long as the station is in agreement with that and it's a team discussion. For instance, if the person is a freelancer and they submit sports show and then they submit sports bulletin reader, that's 2 entries for the same presenter. So you check under the actual limitations that I went through at the beginning. That person has now entered 2 separate categories, but as one presenter. So it is allowed as far as I know, but I can double check on the system as well. It's just the stations don't normally do it that way, just to give everyone a fair chance. So for instance, I'm assuming at the radio station that he works in, he's not the only one that does sport. So if the station wants to submit him under a sports show, then he's free to do that. But then they want to submit someone else under sports bulletin reader, then they're also allowed to do that. Any other questions so far?
Thanks, Pilar. I hope that answers your question. We have a question from Zanele Zama. Is there an opportunity for producers in internet radio to enter? How, if so?
Give me that again, sorry, Morgan.
Sure. Is there an opportunity for producers in internet radio to enter? And if so, how?
Okay, producers for internet radio show right now, no, they can't enter the actual producers category. But if they want to showcase their work under internet radio, they can submit their entry under internet and maybe under motivation, then add give context as to why they're submitting that actual show. As the producer themselves, they are submitting it, but the producer category currently is not open to the internet radio stations.
Thanks, Pilar. I hope that answers your questions, Anele. And then we have another question from Brent Meda. It looks as if I've completed the entry form fully, but it's still showing an incomplete entry. Do you have any pointers for that?
Okay, Brent is, I've been looking at his query since Monday. So DevOps is currently assisting me with that one. We're trying to figure out why the system is showing his entry as incomplete, because currently everything that he's filled in on the system is correct and he's done it all correctly. So once that issue has been resolved with the big end, we will let him know. I hope that answers his question. Otherwise, his entry is complete. He's double checked it and we've double checked it as well.
Perfect. Thank you, Pilar. And then we have a question from Cornele. Hi team, wanted to find out with regards to the audio submission that if it's less than 6 minutes, will it make the submission incomplete?
No, it won't make the submission incomplete. If it's less than 5 minutes and it's got everything that he would like on the actual audio clip as well, and he's happy with that, he can submit that audio clip. The system won't say it's incomplete. So the actual criteria there is to submit an audio, not how long the audio is. I hope that answers his question.
Thank you, Pilar. And then we have a question from Sonette Stoffberg. In what situation will community projects and PR stunts be combined in the nominations, if you know? We submit as community, but when nominations are announced, it becomes combined.
Okay, so there, last year and the year before, what we did there was we combined them at the end when we looked at the actual submissions that were made. So this year we've also given it a chance to let it be as the separate license classifications instead of combining it, just to also give people the freedom, because we would like to very much encourage the stations in their specific licenses to enter that category. The issue right now is that there's not a lot of stations that enter that those two categories. So depending on when we look at the entries after entries have closed and how many entries there are, then we tend to combine them and make them a combined entry because of the actual number of entries that have been submitted. If the entries then increase and the industry then has a request that we keep them combined, we can keep them combined. So right now, no one has really asked us to combine those two, but it depends on how many entries are really per category. I hope that answers her question.
Thanks, Pilar. And then we also have a question from UJFM Production. In terms of the audio submissions for shows and presenters, what exactly do the guidelines mean when they say a compilation of introductions?
So I think I said that when I was talking about audio submissions. Ideally, because the frame is for a year, right? So you would really like to take out what you really want the judges to listen to. Imagine that the judge doesn't know anything about your show, one. Two, imagine the number of entries that we receive per year and per category. So if this judge is listening to a lot of audio, maybe 50 entries, let's call it. You don't want to bore him with a lot of content on the audio clip as well. That's why I mostly recommend everyone to just state their business case or motivate on the actual motivation. The audio show really is to just back up what you're saying on the actual motivation. It's an addition to it's a listening addition to what you've submitted on the actual entry. So the judge then would need introductions instead of like if it's different shows, just maybe introduce the different shows as well and maybe put them into one clip. I hope that answers the person's question.
Thanks, Pilar. And then we have a question from Kagiso. I would like to ask of how many newsfield reporters are allowed to enter within the category, and same goes for on-air newsreaders.
So the limitations per category, as mentioned as well, are available on the Radio Awards website, and mostly all of them are one per presenter, and and then maximum of three per station. I hope that answers the question.
Okay, perfect. And then we also have a question from Sekukune, Community Radio. Are these categories evaluated according to the type of radio station? Example, community campus versus community campus, or are they evaluated in one pool, community versus public versus commercial?
No, so the judges, when they judge, they judge per licensing, unless it's and if it's combined, it's a combined submission of all the different radio stations. So the judges don't look at if this is a community radio station, no, not really. And also a judge might judge campus radio stations only. So he won't have, he doesn't compare or she doesn't compare between a campus and a community radio station. So the judging itself, the judges judge according to what has been allocated to them in terms of if it's been allocated community, campus, or internet or PBS. And in there as well, also a further breakdown per language. So a judge that speaks Sizulu, Xhosa, and English may judge, for instance, community radio station, 3 or 4 categories, and in the languages that they can speak. So if they only speak English, those judges will judge English entries under that specific category, under that specific licensing. They don't evaluate one licensing versus another. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Pilar. That seems to be all in the chat. If anyone else has any more questions, we'll give it about 2-3 minutes. Okay, we see there is one more here. We have another question from Sonette. Of all the elements we are allowed to submit with an entry, which carries the most weight? Audio / motivation / video / additional file.
So for that question, I would say it depends on the actual category the person is entering for. For instance, not all of the entries have additional files. Not all of the entries have a video. They only have an audio clip and a motivation. So there, the audio clip and the motivations together then put a full entry for the judge to consider and have a look at. So the one is not less really important than the other, but the other one complements the other. And then for the creative categories, for instance, radio innovation, there then how do you showcase the innovation that has been done by the actual radio station? You do an audio clip if there's any on-air innovation that you've made, a video a clip to showcase any maybe inside the radio station, any innovations that you've done, or maybe some events that you did for the radio station, just to showcase that, and maybe any other additional would be like a PowerPoint deck that you would put together just to give the judge a fuller picture. That applies for the nomination, the creative categories. And then for the nomination categories, it all puts together one picture for the advisory board who judges the nomination categories. So for Hall of Fame, Station Manager's Choice, Bright Star, those have even further additional requirements for them. For instance, a picture of the person that you're nominating, a resume of the person that you're nominating, because age also factors in there as well to say which age gap that person is in. For instance, a Bright Star cannot be older than 25, if I remember correctly. So anyone that's younger than 25 can be nominated for that category. But if you're 35, you're not really a Bright Star, so that kicks you out. So all those things then submitted to the advisory board for them to consider and select who the nomination categories will be. And in addition, for instance, the station manager's choice, what makes that person the station's the ideal team or station's most valuable asset. This is the person that is not on air. This is the person that nobody has seen before or interacted with before. It's only the station's staff and the actual station manager that has interacted with this person. So you would need additional requirements for that person for us to showcase to the advisory board who would then be shortlisted and nominated for that category. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Pilar. And then we have another question. If I submit an audio that contains example station show jingle, does that maybe disqualify the entry?
No, it doesn't disqualify the entry, but it just makes it depends what the jingle's purpose on the audio clip is. Because the reason why we say content mostly on the audio clip is so the judge then doesn't spend time listening to jingles or adverts. But if you think the jingle itself adds value to the content that you've put on your audio clip for that whole year or for the 6 months period that you've selected, then you can do that. It doesn't disqualify the entry. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Pilar. And then a general ask, do you have any cool tips and tricks for submissions or standout elements we're looking for per category?
The judges are always looking for maybe some advice. There is all I can give. The judges are always looking for what makes the actual entry stand out. Remember as well, you have a chance to submit an actual entry for that 1 year period from April 2024 to March 2025. So what really makes it an outstanding show, or what makes this presenter really a person that should get the award? Remember as well, there's so many radio stations that enter. So really, it's all about how you sell it and how you motivate, and you put your motivational together and put your best foot forward, I guess I may say it like that. I hope that answers the question. That's all I can do. I'm not a judge really, but those are things that I would suggest and recommend from a person. Also, just to spend time. Don't do it in a rush. Don't submit your entry in a rush. Spend at least a day just going through your actual entry. Spend a day going through your motivation. Pass it by someone else in the team to also have a view, maybe your station manager or someone else that can also maybe suggest maybe you add this or remove this. Like a second pair of eyes will never hurt. I hope that answers the question.
Thanks, Pila. That seems to be all from our questions and our chat. If anyone has further queries on what's next, you can just pop us a mail, radioawards@arena.africa, and we will be sending the slides. Just pop a mail and we'll send it through. Otherwise, Pila, thank you for your time. Is there anything else from your side you'd like to say to everyone?
Not really, but to say good luck to everyone for submitting. And I hope this session was insightful and it helps in a way for everybody to submit their entries. Otherwise, send us an email and we will assist you as much as possible. What I will also do on the slide, on the mailer that we sent last week, we sent some links of a recording of how to submit your entry. So taking a person on the actual system as well through a recording of someone just clicking it. So that is also useful. So I'll add that to my deck as well, and then we can make it available to everyone. Otherwise, good luck everyone and happy submitting your entries.
Thanks, everyone. Good luck.